Let's stick with the economy now and previewing tomorrow's budget. I'm joined on the desk here by Dimitri Burshtein from Eminence Advisory. Good to see you again, Dimitri.
Thanks, Chris. Nice to be back.
Now, you've written in pretty strong terms about just what this government has done with spending and with debt. How dire is the situation and how much worse could it be after tomorrow?
Oh, it's pretty dire, and it can only get worse. The only way Australians are going to see a surplus anytime soon is if they redefine the word.
Really? Surely, if we can constrain government spending, eventually economic growth gets us there?
Yes, Chris, but I have no confidence in either this government or the opposition constraining spending. We have out of control spending all over the place with demands, necessary demands, for example, in defence. I mean, NDIS, the government has announced, $100 billion, more than $100 billion since it's been elected. And the metric that I look at weekly is the level of gross debt of this country. Budget accounting can come and go, but the truth is in how much debt we have. And as at this week, it's $956 billion of debt, a mere $42 billion more than the start of the calendar year, and $5 billion on last week.
And bearing down on $1 trillion.
Correct. Fast as.
Now, what I like about your commentary is you're an equal opportunity critic. Of course, the coalition spending went way out of control under COVID. Now, they'll always blame the pandemic, but I would argue, as no doubt you would, that they drastically overreacted to the pandemic. And the trouble for them now is that Labor is desperate for them to oppose some spending so they can have a scare campaign against them. So things like these electricity rebates and Medicare spends, the coalition is saying, tick, yep, we'll have that as well. No one's got a plan to pay for any of it.
Well, they do. They'll just leave it on the credit card for our children and grandchildren to pay for it. And yes, and with bracket creep, it'll squeeze the young and the working, as far as they can until they said it enough, and they might even stop working, or they'll leave the country and leave us with what?
This is the really worrying thing, isn't it? When you talk about just adding it to the future deficits and debt, it means taxes stay higher for longer. So what we're talking about is paying for our weakness, if you want to call it that now, or our lack of courage now, is our children. Our children will be paying for this.
Children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I mean, let's recall that around, when Kevin Rudd was elected in 2007, net debt was negative. It was zero. And in just under 20 years, we've racked up, close to $1 trillion worth of debt.
Wow, it's so true. I remember so clearly the change of government there, the Howard Costello years, handing over money in the bank. No net debt. And we've gone $1 trillion since then. This
reckless spending must end. I mean, we've heard this before. Yeah. I'm waiting for the opposition to actually say something about fiscal responsibility.
So when does the reckoning come and what does it look like? Because the important point to give context to this is a lot of other countries are in this boat, right? America, European countries, a lot of them have even larger share of debt. So there's a massive debt hanging over a lot of Western countries. What does the reckoning look like?
Well, the reckoning will start with a credit rating downgrade, which will increase the cost of debt to government. At the moment, the government's borrowing at around 4.3%. That'll go up. That'll flow through to the banks, which will flow through to mortgages, to business loans. It'll further slow the economy down. The US and Europe, yes, they've all got debt problems, but Australia has been recorded as the fastest debt growth in the last 20 years. But we're a different economy. We're a small, trade-exposed economy. And when we've got the Greens who want to stop 2 of our 3 largest exports, and we have a bipartisan energy policy which is asphyxiating our manufacturing sector, we're in a much bigger world of hurt than Europe and the US at the moment.
The self-harm is just incredible to imagine, even as we see it happening around us. Thanks for joining us, Dimitri. Dimitri Burshtein there for the Grim News. Remember that, though, when you're watching the budget tomorrow. Every time they promise some money and every time the coalition promises to match it, this is money we don't have. This is money going on the credit card for you and your kids and your grandkids to pay in future taxes.